Welcome to this video on Construction Configurators, leveraging BIM to configure modular and prefabricated construction. I'm Chris Kiak, and you can visit my website at chriskiak.com or bimquest.com. You can also take a look at my social media accounts on LinkedIn or YouTube, and even Facebook, where I have the Tekla API Underground page, as well as a page on my model viewer called CMK View. Prefabrication has been in the construction industry for decades. Now, one of the things that we've seen in the past 10 years is that taking prefabrication to the next level by integrating multiple trades together. So you can see, for instance, on the upper left, the precast panel where the window and glass systems are integrated together with the precast concrete and then shipped to site to be installed and put together. Then you have the bathroom pods at the upper right, where the drywall, the mechanical and electrical and studs are all pre-configured and put together into a shippable assembly that can be just hooked up on site. Or even taking it to the next level, where you have entire rooms or entire spaces that are built out as a module and shipped out to site to be hooked together. Now, the whole benefit of doing this is basically controlling the quality and reducing costs in a factory-driven environment, versus shipping materials directly out to the site where there's less ability to mobilize equipment, control quality, and then labor costs are higher. Now, one of the inherent things about doing prefabrication in a factory environment is starting to figure out, how can I reuse or mass manufacture parts across the project or multiple projects? And so there are some companies who really take this to the next level, such as Hilti or Connextech, where they actually create a kit of parts or a standardized set of pieces that change in length or change in size for different loading requirements. But it's a standard kit of manufactured parts that can be reconfigured across projects or even different building types. Now, for years, these manufacturers have been putting out catalogs that allow design teams or construction professionals to go through, look at different design requirements, and select the right parts or assemblies and products that they want to use on their project. Now, the challenge with this is that you have to become very familiar with these products and how to navigate through these pages, and then transfer this information into the design drawings or the 3D building information modeling or BIM environment that you're actually working on to create the project. So let's take the example of a steel ladder. So I want, as a designer, to be able to say, I quickly want to configure the type of ladder I need, send a notice to the manufacturer with the specifications, get a price, have them build it, and then send it across to me. So I'm just going to show an example here of where I made a configurator of just this ladder that you can easily select the different information and parameters that you need, and it'll show you that on the fly. And then ultimately, in the end, we want to be able to pull that information and not only send that to the manufacturer to give us a price and to purchase that ladder, but we also want to integrate that with the design environment, potentially in the building information model or the BIM software, to show the exact location of where that ladder will be on the project and to incorporate it into the design documentation. All right, so here we're in this example configurator, and we can easily turn on the dimensions and see all of the different parameters that are involved in defining or configuring this particular ladder. So let's go ahead and change some of the parameters here. So I'll change this to 12 feet, and then I may change, for instance here, the number of rungs. So as I change the parameters of the product, you'll see that they automatically change here in the 3D environment. And you may even build in like different design requirements or restrictions on what the product can be actually configured to based on the manufacturing standards that have been set up. So all of the logic and rules can be built here. Rather than having to interpret that from a catalog, you see it here in a dynamic 3D environment, and you're configuring and being controlled here without having to learn that all yourself. Now, the next step would be is that we've got all this great information. We have exactly the ladder that we want. So we're going to go ahead and save this information. I can then send this digital information to the manufacturer for them to price for me as well as fabricate from. And then I could also pass this digital information over to the designer that's working in the building information modeling environment to load up those settings and create a representation of this ladder or this product over there in the design environment. So here I am, and I can see that there are a series of files that have been created. One example here is a KISS file. Since this is manufactured out of steel parts, we can send this digital bill of material across to a fabricator or to a manufacturer that can then easily see the quantities, sizes, and required materials to actually fabricate and price that piece. I then have a drawing per se with all the dimensions and information that's shown to figure out how to actually configure and put that together. And then there's bill of materials or Excel reports that I could use. Also a data file. This data file could be loaded by the building information modeling software to actually build the graphical representation with properties in the design model for record. If you're interested, there's an online version of the steel ladder configurator, and if you go to bimquest.com/ladder, you can easily use the web browser version of this. You don't have to download or install any additional software. You can look at it and configure it right there inside of your web browser.